Now moving on into our second part of our training video, where the previous one was on requiring data. In other words, we created or attached a macro to the form here where nobody can save the record without entering in the customer name. In other words, this field can't be left blank. The problem we're running into is that if they try to save the record, it just takes them back here, but it doesn't tell them why it's taking them back to the customer name field. So we want to have a little message that pops up and says, hey, what are you doing? Enter in the customer's name. We got to have somebody to associate this phone number and address with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and right click the form and go back to the design view. Be sure to select the form again by clicking off in the blue area or on the square. Then over here you've got our embedded macro that we created in the previous training video. To make changes to it or to edit it, which is what we want to do because we want to add a little message box, click on its ellipsis button here. There's the macro. Again, require data entry is what the macro is supposed to do. By doing the first condition, and the only condition is the customer name blank. If that field is, then don't save the record and then go back to the customer name field, as you can see down below. Well, before going to that field, in between the canceling of the record and going to the field, I want to have a little message pop up. So I'm going to come over here and hover over the row header for the go to control here and right click, and I want to insert a row above it. Okay, I'm going to click up there for the condition, and it's going to be tied to the same condition. I mean, if this field is blank up here, so we want to add the ... or three little dots. That means it's an ellipsis, and it's that this is tied to this condition here, this action that we're about to put in over here. And that action is going to be an MSG message box. You can click on the drop down arrow, it's right there, message box. And then again, if I hit F6 on the keyboard, it drops me down to its action arguments and what's the message that I want to display for the user. We can type in something like, and then down below you've got the type where by default it's set to none. And again, more information over to the right. It's the type of icon you want to display. Is it none, or do you want us to display the critical or warning? In fact, let's click on the drop down arrow and let's select information. And then down below in the title for the information box that pops up, we'll just say it's required data. So you've got the message, you must enter a value in the customer name field. We want to give it a little noise, a beep, yes. So that's set to yes. And then we have the type. It's going to be an informational box with the title of the box, required data. Oh, let's not forget to come up here and put a little comment in for those who want to read what this macro is all about over here in the comments section. So we're going to go ahead and type in ... because remember those three little dots means it's this action tied to the condition that's above it. And we'll say, and then hit enter. When you're finished with the macro like we are, we want to be sure to save it. We'll click on the close button. We're back to our form. Now let's go ahead and take it for a test drive. We'll click on the save button here to save our form, then click on the view button to go to the form view. Down below we'll click on the new record, blank record button, and let's go ahead and try to save it. In fact, let's come down in here and let's say we entered in the address, and let's say we're finished. So we hit Shift Enter, and there's our information box. The title of it's required data. Then we got the message, you must enter a value in the customer name field. Click OK. Now watch what happens. After I click OK, it should take me right back to the customer name field because that's the third action within that macro. Click OK and hey, took me right back there. Also, it didn't save it as well. So that's a little bit more helpful. Now I know what the programmers want out of me, and I can go ahead and type in the customer name. Shift tab to go back up to the customer number. We'll type in 11, and let's go ahead and try to save it right now. Shift Enter. There we go. It allowed me to save it. Thanks for watching. Hey, as a quick reminder, if you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. You can also click on me and subscribe to my channel, get notified of the latest videos, and for only $2 a month, you can have access to all my Microsoft Office training videos.